Phantasma Audiobook, a dark fantasy romance by Kaylee Smith. Prologue, Wicked. The devil had a wicked mouth and a voice as smooth as bourbon. "What is your decision?" he pressed, as he trailed the tip of his index finger down one side of her throat, his lips mere centimeters from her racing pulse on the other. "You tricked me," she whispered. He laughed in response, his breath caressing her feverish skin. He was so close that she could barely think. Any coherent response to his question eluded her as another shot of adrenaline rushed through her veins, but the events leading up to this moment were burned into her mind with vivid clarity. 1. Midnight spell. 3 nights until Phantasma. Moonlight glinted off the gilded locket clasped around the corpse's cold neck. Ophelia Grimm unfastened her mother's heart-shaped necklace with fervor before stepping clear of the spell circle and reaching beneath her loose, umber curls to secure the familiar bauble around her own throat. A shiver ran down her spine when the chilled metal settled against her skin, and her flesh prickled beneath it. Ophelia sank to her knees on the left of her mother's pale corpse, her sister, Genevieve, watching a few feet away in rapt silence. Tightening her grip around the silver blade in her hand, Ophelia pressed its sharp tip into the soft ivory flesh of her inner arm. The slice was deep but precise, drawing enough blood that it dripped and pooled onto the ground before her and dyed the delicate white material of her nightgown a macabre shade of vermilion. The scent of iron and salt was pungent. Ophelia let the blade clatter to the floor, and Genevieve flinched like a spooked hare. Ophelia ignored her sister's cringing as she struck a match, relishing the hiss of the igniting fire in the dead quiet of Grimm Manor. She reached toward the nearest candle and waited for its wick to flare to life, tapping the side of the waxy pillar while she counted each touch silently in her head. 1, 2, 3. When the candle finally lit, Ophelia nudged it into place within the spell circle, and the rest of the pillars around Tessie Grimm's lifeless body instantly ignited. The Grimm sisters' shadows stretched all the way up to the ceiling as the velvet curtains billowed violently. It had been Ophelia that awoke, sweat-soaked in the middle of this balmy New Orleans night, to find their mother lying stiff on the cream chambray rug. There had been no horrified screams or signs of panic or foul play, no signs of any peril at all. Just her mother sprawled out on the ground as if the woman had decided to retire for the night, on the floor of the living room instead of a bed. If the foreign, crackling feeling of magic had not alerted her that something was very wrong, she might not have found her mother until the sun rose. And by then, it would have been too late. Ophelia had been vaguely aware of her sister padding down the creaky stairs after her, but had been too busy scouring her memories to warn Genevieve of the gruesome scene below. Ophelia flipped through her recollection for confirmation that she had knocked on her headboard enough times and tapped her knuckles in the correct pattern on her wall before she went to sleep. But she knew she had. Her compulsions were routine at this point. This was not her fault. It couldn't be. She'd done everything perfectly. For a moment, she'd considered leaving the corpse as it was and going back to bed, convinced it would disappear in the morning, just as all her mind's conjurings did. It wasn't until Genevieve's blistering sob and the pulse of power in the air that she sprang into action. She'd snapped at Genevieve to find a box of matches and had dashed through Grimm Manor to their mother's study, ransacking the room for the 7 black candles she needed to perform the spell before the window of opportunity closed forever. Ophelia was now the eldest Grimm. Please click on the link in the description. Dear book lover, wonderful person, to listen to the entire book, please click on the link in the description. Please click on the link in the description. Dear book lover, wonderful person, to listen to the entire book, please click on the link in the description.